Hello beautiful, welcome back to Nat's Beautiful Life. Today I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on The Boneshard Daughter by Andrea Stewart with you. This is our March book club book of the month, so we're going to have a little chat about it. If you've read this along with us for our book club, you can put your comments down in the down in the comments below. In the description bar, there is information about the book club and the Facebook group for it and all of that. But you are also just more than welcome to use the comment section down below. If you're new to this channel, hello, my name is Natasha. I do videos on books, bullet journaling, art journaling, media, basically anything I want to do a video about because why not? And I'm so glad that you joined us today. Be sure you are subscribed so you never miss a video. I try to post every Friday, and if you don't see it on Friday, check out on Saturday because I'm only one person. And also, there are some videos that pop up during the week, so if you want to be notified when they show up, click that little notification bell and like this video. If you like me, you like the video, you want to see more, I would love to have you. All right, so let's talk about The Boneshard Daughter by Andrea Stewart. So this is the first book in a fantasy trilogy, I believe is what it's going to be. It's not finished yet. The third book is supposed to come out this year, so this is the best time to read it. You get the first one, the second one, and then that third one will come out and you can just binge yourself an awesome fantasy story. So let's talk about some non-spoiler things. If I get to some spoilers, I will stick them at the end. I will give you a warning and let you know, boom, spoilers, you know, check out until you've read it and then come back. But we've got a multiple POV, which most fantasies are. We are following our main people here. I'm going to be referencing the book. I did just finish it, but I'm going to be kind of referencing this as we go through. So Lynn, who is our emperor's daughter, and she's on Imperial Island. And from what I'm gathering with this book, and there's probably a map. Oh yes, there is. There's a map. The empire is made up of multiple islands and such and whatnot. And apparently the islands move around, or some of them move. That's what I'm gathering from some of the words. So we're following her. We're following Jovis, who is a smuggler, but he's been searching for his wife, Amalia, who disappeared, or she was taken, I think 5 years previous. And he's been looking for her since and getting involved in different things along the way. We're following someone named Sand, who is on an island, and she just knows she's supposed to do this one job every day. One day she falls out of the tree and something in a fog, like it's like a fog lifts, and she starts to remember, hey, I haven't always been on this island. And I feel like we're following someone else. Am I not getting all the people? And we're following Felu, who is on Nephalanu Island. She is the governor's daughter, and she is, her father is very into parties and opulence and all of these things. She kind of is more of a soldier, and her mother was a commoner, so she's kind of is more in tune with the commoners and what they do and all of that. But anyway, so there's our main people that we're following. So what I will say about this book, reading it, there's a lot of, you've got to understand the island, you've got to understand the islands, the empire, you've got to understand what's kind of going on. But in it, there is some action going on, there are some things happening. And as you're getting through the multiple POVs here, you're getting little snippets here and there of different aspects of the empire, different aspects of people's lives. And the islands themselves do have differences. Like, I guess you could look at it as things are different in different states or provinces. The islands, things are different. But they all fall under the emperor, the empire. So our main thing that we're told about in our synopsis is there is Lynn, who is the emperor's daughter. He also has a foster son, and he basically pits them against each other to learn the Boneshard magic that is kind of like, I guess it's only allowed within their family or something. I'm still not clear if other people have magics, because they do understand his magic, kind of how it works, but there's a reason why. So he makes these constructs, so he can take different pieces of different animals and things. He puts them together. He puts this magic kind of like rules on bone shards, and then puts them into the animals, and they come to life, and they do whatever he says. So he has constructs, is what these things are called, that help him run the empire. So the common people, everybody knows what these constructs are when they see a really weird animal or monster looking thing. They're not really afraid of it because they know it's a construct. They may be afraid because they don't know what it's there to do, but it's not uncommon for them to see really weird things. So they understand that. And there's also been another, so the emperor's family protects the empire from the return of another, I think, magical group of people who ran the world or the empire before. And I believe they're called the Alonga. And different artifacts of the Alonga have been waking up. In other words, like if there's a painting and its eyes are closed, their eyes are starting to open. There's a fountain that is, again, the eyes are closed, they're starting to open. So some of these artifacts seem to be waking up during this time. So some people are like, they're longer and never coming back, so what's the big deal? You know, the emperor may know more things than he's letting on. He hasn't, shared all of these things because he only shares it, and that's just the way it is in their family, with emperor to child, and then that child becomes the emperor, and then they share it with their child. It does not go laterally. It only goes down the line. So there you go. So like I said, we've got Lynn, who is the emperor's daughter, and this other Bayan, I believe is how you would say his name. I actually read the book, I didn't do the audiobook, so I'm guessing at these names. But he's a foster child that had shown, I guess, an affinity for magic or something, the gift, and brought him in and all of that. So that's how that is explained. So we've got that going on. Then we have Fei Lu, who is a governor's daughter on a different island, and she is in love with a woman named Renami, and she is a commoner, and she refuses to marry Fei Lu until she basically can see the truth. She doesn't want to be a governor's wife, is what she keeps saying to her, because again, in the line, whenever Fei Lu's father dies, she will be the governor and all of that. And in this particular kingdom, the children don't have to be naturally born. They can literally be children that they take off the streets and take into their homes and make them their children. So adoptive children. And so her father keeps pressuring her to get married, get some kids, you're gonna run this island one day. And then there is a boy, it's convoluted, isn't it? There is an anti-empire group called the Shardless Few. I'll get into that in a minute. And Renami kind of hooks up with them, and through them is wanting to help Fei Lu see the truth. Okay. You've got Sand, who I'm just going to leave you with what I basically told you already. She's on an island. She knows she's supposed to pick mangoes every day. She falls out of the tree, and then something knocks loose, so to speak, and she realizes she hasn't always been on the island, because as far as she can remember, she's always been on the island. And then she asks someone, like in line to get food one day, have you always been here? And she's like, yes, I've always been here. But then she's kind of thinking, but you haven't, you know, because I remember there being a time when you weren't here. But then the fog kind of lifts a little bit on this person, but it comes back. So anyway, we've got a whole other thing going on there, but again, they're all connected. My favorite character in all of this is Jovis. He is our smuggler. And what he becomes kind of famous for, even though he didn't mean to, is there is a tithing festival. And so the shards that the emperor uses to make his constructs live are a bone in the back of the ear, I believe, that all the children of a certain age, they're given like opium or something to calm them down, but they literally have these tithing festivals where the children of this age come out, and there's like a chisel and something, and a soldier knocks a piece of bone out of their ear, or out of this back part of their ear. And 1 in 25 die because of blood loss, or the chisel goes into their brain or something like that. It's not even surgically done. They literally just line the children up and soldiers chisel these things out. There is a risk of your shard being used. If your shard is used to work on a construct or to create a construct, you may get sick because it starts to drain you. And if it's a higher level construct, maybe like a higher in the bureaucratic system, it's more complex, you may actually become very, very sick. It's called shard sickness, and you may die from it. So there's a lot going on. So Jovis becomes known because he's trying to get some information again about some ship that he saw when his wife was taken. And this woman is like, I'm going to give you the information, but only if you promise to get my nephew out of here. The tithing festival is today, and just grab him and go. And he's like, there's a lot more to it than that, because there's like records and census and stuff like this. He's like, there's a lot more to it than that. He's like, but I'll do it. And so she gives him the information. He grabs the kid and eventually delivers him to his family, who then tells everybody. So then he becomes famous for that. Along the way, something really big happens, and when that happens, all of these animals are kind of escaping the island, and all of stuff swimming away, and he has this child that he did take, and he's scared because his family, you know, he doesn't have his family or anything. You know, he's been told where to take this child, but, you know, he's alone with a stranger and all of that. And he's probably a little dosed from the opium and all of that. So along the side of the boat, Jovis sees what he thinks is a kitten. He picks it up and gives it to him and is like, here, you know, we saved this, you know, take care of that. And it really helped the kid to calm down. It gave him a something to focus on. Well, through all of this, that particular animal becomes Jovis's animal companion. And that is probably one of my favorite characters in the whole book, is Methy, who is the side character. He's actually it's actually more important than a side character, but I just feel like he's going to be someone, he has not actually been revealed what he is even by the end of the book, but I have my suspicions, and it's just the coolest. You love that relationship between Jovis and Methy. It's just too much. It's too cute. But anyway, there's your setup for what's happening. All of these things start moving and going into motion, and they do all hit ahead towards the end of the book, and you see we are ready for more. So my thoughts on the book itself. That was a long synopsis right there of like, this is the setup, this is what's happening, and then we move forward. It takes about 200 to 240 pages for this book to take off. I did enjoy reading it because I'm not just a plot-driven reader, I also like characters. So learning not only little bits here and there about the Boneshard magic and the relationships between like Lynn and Bayan and her father and, you know, Felu and all of these different relationships going on, and just kind of getting those set ups to set up the main plot of how everything works, where they are, all of that. It was interesting, but like I said, nothing actually takes off until about 240 pages into the book. So about halfway through is when it starts to get really interesting, which is weird to say because I kept going. It wasn't like, oh, I gotta pick this up, it's boring. I actually enjoyed the first 200 and something pages, but again, it wasn't like mind-blowing until we hit that point. So I highly recommend this book. I am going to continue this. Interesting magic system and the way the bone shards work, where they're taken from, what they can do to the people who originally belonged to them. Oh, that's it. If the person dies, their bone shard no longer works and it has to be replaced. So the Emperor has like a room that's just full of bone shards, and it is marked like who they belong to and all of this stuff. So when someone dies, they can remove those bone shards from like storage, and they constantly are replacing them. So the shardless few are the people who are anti-shard, like stop taking shards from people, stop doing constructs. And the Emperor is very, I would say, like, he doesn't trust people. He's very isolated. So he only trusts like his constructs that he made and that are completely obedient to him. And so instead of having a head of whatever, a head of the treasury, he has a construct of the treasury and things like that. So instead of putting people into these positions of power, he makes constructs that become these positions of power. And that's why it's so important for him to constantly be getting the new bone shards and things like that. So there's our setup. Like I said, I did really enjoy this. It has great characters. You will have a favorite character. I don't care who it is, but you will have a favorite character. You will root for certain people. You will know that certain people are not to be trusted. You really will be involved into this this book. And that was the thing. I found myself really loving when I turned the page and I saw it was like a Jovis chapter or something like that. Or if something had been going on with Lynn and we left on a cliffhanger, and then like we had a couple of chapters with other people and we went back to Lynn. I was like, oh good, let's find out. You're gonna find yourself really kind of engrossed in a person, I'd say. All of the story is important and you will enjoy all of them, but I feel like maybe some that didn't super shine, like maybe Sand, it's very kind of, not really a slow burn, but it's just not as important to this book, her story, as I think it will be in the future because of the way her story kind of ends in this book, or ends. It's kind of setting us up for more. And so I highly recommend it. It's very engaging. There's a lot going on, but it's not so much that it's too much, you know what I mean? Which sometimes can happen in a fantasy world. The writing is beautiful. It flows really well. Really enjoyed it. Okay, so those are my non-spoilery thoughts. If you have not read the book, stop right now and come back when you've read the book, because we're going to talk about some spoilery things. And here we go. Methy. What do you think he is? I have a hard time kind of picturing him like he's described, and then they keep changing some things, but I kind of picture him as like a blue creature. And I feel like he's some sort of dragon. I could be wrong, and he could, based on the last of his kind that we see in the last of the book, I don't know if this last of the kind, but the other one that we see at the end of the book, and her size, I don't know if he's going to get much bigger. But in my mind, I kept thinking he's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger until he is a fire-breathing dragon. And I think something with the Witchstone has to do with their species. So maybe it's something that is stolen from them, or something they do to them to create the Witchstone, or something like that, because of the way Muffy reacts or acts whenever he's near Witchstone. I love the relationship between Jobus and Muffy, because I loved how they got there. And I hear myself thinking it all the time now, like, oh, is that a good? Oh, that's a very good. We do a good. I really enjoyed that. It was a fun part of the story, and I'm interested in knowing how they're connected, because it seems that Lynn is also connected to her Thrana, the same way, how they're stronger, they're healing quicker, all of these things, and it's all kind of dependent on Muffy. And maybe that's something that the Emperor had figured out and was kind of draining Muffy Thrana, to make people. So I'm really interested to learn more about what he is and where he came from, and if it has anything to do with like the island, the Deerhead Island that crumbled. I wonder if maybe he was released when that happened. I don't know, but I just have these like thoughts, these opinions of like, what if, or this may be, or whatever. But I think that's the cool thing about this book, is it gives you more than enough, but then you also are like, but what now? Like, what's happened? What is? Who is? You know? And it gives you enough that you can start kind of guessing and wondering, well, I wonder if this had anything to do with... And honestly, I think the Alonga are coming back, or awakening, or whatever they were, and maybe he's a part of that. But I just thought that was just interesting, that when the island fell, then we find Muffy. Anyway, Felu, the whole Geo in the Shardless Few, and Phalo and Renami, I feel like Renami is a little too trusting of the like anti-Empire people, because she thinks if these people, the Empire is intrinsically bad, then the people who are against them should be intrinsically good. But that's not true, and it looks like maybe Geo kind of wants to set himself up as something. And we see that when Jobus kind of is like, you were going to kill her, and you were going to kind of be the leader. This wasn't the idea, even though this makes sense. You know, when Phalo takes over as governess, that just makes sense, because the people know her, and she's going to have some sort of semblance to the Empire and try to make things better, but they're going to be more comfortable with that and with her. The whole thing with Sand, and when she realizes that they're all constructs, I'm wondering if they are people that the Emperor like had made and thrown memories into, because she's having these memories, and then stuck them on the island for later use. That's kind of what I'm wondering. That's just kind of my guess. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens there, especially when we find out that Lynn and Bayu are constructs. And I feel like that's gonna all come into play in a big way, and I don't know what would happen if other people found out that she is a construct. Anyway, that's future books. I can't wait. Anyway, then what's the other ones we have? Lynn, I think she's going to do a great job of being the Empress for now. But I feel like we're going to have an uprising of constructs, Shardless Few, and then people who just want to take over, and then I believe we're going to have the Alonga. Something happen with them. I can't wait to see what happens in this series. And so, there. Okay, so those are my thoughts. This is a long video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you guys so much. Be sure that you are subscribed and like this video, and I will see you guys again very soon right here on Nat's Beautiful Life. Have a great day, gorgeous.